Button Screaming Geek Media here. I am Jerry the Geek. This video we are going to talk about U-571 on 4K. But before we get into that, if you like physical media, 4Ks, Blu-rays, DVDs, if you like home theater, movies in general, check out my other videos on my channel. I do these unboxings, reviews, discussions, collection updates, custom covers. Check that stuff out, see what you like. Hit that like button, subscribe. Turn your bell notifications on as well so you can keep a track of what's coming out. But anyways, so let's jump into U-571 on 4K. The movie came out in 2000. Matthew McConaughey, Bill Paxton, Harvey Keitel, John Bon Jovi, David Keith. So it's got a really good cast to it. Directed by Jonathan Mostow. Now the movie takes place around World War II. It's a submarine movie. All has to do with the Germans' Enigma machines, where it's a special encoding machine they use for encoding their messages, so their enemies won't figure out the messages back and forth, what's going on. It was the whole battle at Atlantic and Berlin. The Nazi U-boats were basically those kind of winning the war because the U.S. and Allies could not crack the code. So this was all about capturing a U-boat and then acquiring one of those the machines and trying to decipher the code and trying to take over the whole battle. Get a step above them. I've always loved this movie. I can't remember what format I had it on first. I think I may have got it on Laserdisc first. I can't remember. I know I definitely had it on DVD and HD DVD, and then I got the Blu-ray, and now finally come on 4K. I had to have it because I've always loved it on every format. It's a great movie. It's got a great story. Some people complain about it's not completely historical accurate. It's like, I don't give a shit. It's a movie, entertainment. It's got some basis, it's grounded from history, but it's got a great story overall. Great performances. And it's definitely a movie that, because of the audio, which we'll get to, it's not just a movie that you enjoy, it's a movie you need to experience. And even a music score is incredible. The funny thing about the music score is that if you're familiar with Air Force One, you would swear you're watching that movie when you're watching this, because the music, all the cues, and it sounds like it came directly from Air Force One. So I was like, man, it must be done. Jerry Goldsmith did that. He didn't do this. This was done by Richard Marvin, which apparently I recognize the name, and he's done the music for the Grimm TV series I've been binge watching lately. So this is basically a complete rip-off from Air Force One and Jerry Goldsmith's music, because, like I said, it sounds exactly like that music. It's got the same feel-good tones, that Americana. It's an awesome soundtrack. Now, this 4K release comes from Studio Canal, came out in 2023. This is not a US release, just a European release. And there's various versions out there from the UK, Australia. Seen some from Italy, Germany, France, Spain. So as far as coming to the US, I'm not sure. A lot of times we see Studio Canal release stuff in Europe, but it doesn't come to the US. So we'll have to wait and see what happens if they work a deal out with Universal, or do it themselves and bring it over here. But yeah, the movie was originally filmed in 35mm, has a HDR10 and Dolby Vision. And as much, I have mixed thoughts about this. This is might be a little long-winded because it's not a bad transfer, but it's not great. I was expecting a lot more. But overall, has some great, nice details throughout. Like sweat on the faces, facial stubble, the rain textures. I mean, that was phenomenal. You see on all the different uniforms and clothing when they're inside some of the leaky rain and inside a submarine, and outside when they're in the rain when they're rowing from one sub to another. That looked incredible. It has a gritty sub environment inside, all the textures inside the sub. The blacks are nice and solid. The whites are really good, especially the one scene where they're at the little 40-hour leave, and all officers and all the all the Navy uniforms, all that white. That really pops off the screen. the gold highlights, the buttons, and different the patchwork on the uniforms looked incredible. But where it falls short is, I've talked about this before in some of the other videos, some other reviews, where some transfers have a lack of depth, especially with digital filmmaking. This is weird being filmed in 35 millimeter. I was expecting that nice depth created from the grain and the film strip. It doesn't have that. It pretty much is void of any depth. I mean, it's just there. So I was really disappointed with that. The other thing I think is with the HDR and Dolby Vision, they really botched this release in my opinion. Because normally the HDR, you get the high contrast. It gives you a darker picture. It gives you, it looks deeper, richer. When it gives you that depth, this does not have that. Honestly, it looks like they actually, instead of adding a contrast, they bumped up the brightness, because I think a lot of the scenes seem overly bright and just didn't feel right. I was just expecting a deeper picture. Again, I don't like to sound negative, but just that, as a 4K enthusiast, and a lot of you out there have been watching a lot of 4Ks for a while, you come to expect certain things, and these old, anything filmed on 35 millimeter, we know they look phenomenal in 4K. This did not reach that bar. It is just a mediocre transfer in my opinion. I forgot to print out, and I was going to read off what the screen is, but you can see here, and it's at the beginning of the movie. It talks about the movie itself and how the 4K scan was done by Universal in the U.S. Then Studio Canal and an Italian company, you have to see, I can't pronounce the name. They were responsible for the 4K restoration, and it says who else was involved there. Now, as far as comparing the Blu-ray, I did pop out my old Blu-ray I still had and compared it with that. There's not a lot of difference. I probably won't show you too many screenshots, because I'm still embarrassed with my screenshots, because sometimes I've never figured out how to capture a good screenshot and transfer it to a computer. So I'm still using a digital camera. Sometimes it takes great photos, and sometimes it makes it look different. And it was hard to get good representation of the screens between the Blu-ray and the 4K here. But we'll show you a few. But I mean, overall, the Blu-ray looks fantastic. And some of the scenes I was watching as I was doing the screenshots, some shots I thought the Blu-ray looked a little better than the 4K. But the 4K, definitely there was a change in some of the color. Not a lot. The biggest, you'll see a couple shots I took of the fireballs, explosions, which anytime, almost 99% of the time, when it comes to fire explosions, the Blu-rays always look flat and pale, where the 4K really bumps and gives a really good saturation. So that is a big difference here with the Blu-ray and the 4K. But other than that, it's hard pressed. The average person is not going to see a difference with the 4K. And it's sad to see, because this has been one of my favorite movies. I was really set. I had my heart set on being blown away by this, and I just didn't. And of course, the wife wasn't too happy either. Well, she didn't watch it, but just hearing me talk about, spending over $50 for it and to get it, and it's not what I expected. But it's a great Steelbook. But anyways, check out a few screenshots here comparing the Blu-ray and the 4K, and we'll come back and talk about the audio and the packaging, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. Now for the audio, they gave us a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, which is kind of weird. You would think they'd probably upgrade it to either a Dolby Atmos or a DTS X, but in my opinion, it's not needed, because when I talked earlier, talking about the movie in general, how it needs, you have to experience it. This is why, because the audio track, no matter what format it's on, this has always been reference material. If you want to show off your audio system with a movie, you put this movie in, because it rocks the house. It is such an intense audio track, and it's never disappointed me. It just blows my mind at how great this sounds. I mean, from the opening scenes, the explosions, the depth charges, crank this puppy up. It's gonna knock you off your couch. I guarantee you that. It is so incredible. But besides that, it's got the clear dialogue throughout. Great channel separation. You hear things moving from side to side. When it moves out of picture, goes off to the side. Great use of surrounds. Like I said, intense bass and explosions. Some subtle sounds. Some of the scenes when they're shooting the guns inside, you hear all the echoes of the guns and the shell casings. When they're getting ready to, the boarding party, when they're getting ready to leave the sub, when they're all sitting there, lock and load, clicking all their guns, that's pretty clear as day. That's really nice. And we touched base with talking about the music score being great. It definitely has a big standout here as well. So the audio track, it makes up for the lack of the visuals. It'll just freaking blow your mind. If you've never experienced this on any of the formats before, you definitely have to pick up this on one of the formats just to experience that DTS 5.1, because it is incredible. Now for the packaging, and like I said, I actually got a version from Italy, and it's a Steelbook. I got the J card here. Of course, it's all in Italian. Gorgeous Steelbook. I had to have the Steelbook. Even being disappointed with the transfer, it was worth it getting the Steelbook. This is simply beautiful. I love the matte finish with it. Like on the front, it actually has the indentation of the actual title. And it pops open. It's a gorgeous picture on the outside there. Now it's different artwork on the Blu-ray and the 4K. And we'll pop the disc out so you can take a look at the inside. And they just took a scene from the movie for the inside artwork. Again, beautiful. I really like this. Now, as far as bonus features, I don't think there is any at all. Even though I can't speak Italian, looking at this and where they would normally have bonus features, I don't see anything listed. It just has, some of the details on the disc itself. I popped the Blu-ray in because normally Blu-rays is where all the bonus features are. But of course, the Blu-ray here is region B locked. And of course, I've never tried playing a different region inside my player before. So this is a screen that came up. I was like, oh, cool. This is kind of lets me know I'm playing something that shouldn't be played. Again, I said this is the Italian version. Have to look up any of the other countries to see if they're the Blu-ray are actually region locked or not. So to wrap it up, this may be a hard sell. It depends on what you want. If you're a Steelbook collector, I would say find this and get it. It is really nice. I mean, it's definitely worth it. But if you're not really interested in Steelbook, if you're just interested in a 4K upgrade, it's a hard sell. Here you can see the standard version is available on Amazon UK, and I'll leave a link below. It's like 20 pounds plus 771 pounds for shipping. So convert that to US dollars, it's about $35 to pick this up. But if you are a diehard, need to have everything in a 4K and think it's worth it, take a chance. Maybe you might think differently than I do. I'll just be a little picky. But just trying to give you some options and give you my thoughts on it. If it's not that big of a deal, I would stick with the Blu-ray. Maybe with the US does get a release, maybe they'll do a different transfer and we'll see something different. Like I said, overall I was kind of disappointed. And another thing, if you do buy this, make sure you get a version that has English subtitles. I didn't think about that because normally most movies I don't need to have subtitles, so I could give I really don't give a shit if it has subtitles or not. As long as it has an English audio track, that's all I care about. But because this one has scenes that they speak in German, well, this here from Italy does not have any English subtitles. So all the scenes that they speak German, nothing. So I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what they're saying, so okay, whatever. So if you get one, if you're going to get Steelbook and looking at some of the different versions available from other countries, definitely look for pictures from the back with details on it to see if it has English subtitles, so you can understand what the hell they're saying in German. So I've learned to be a little bit more picky as far as I have to be more careful when it comes to importing movies. If, as long as it's all in English and it's got an English audio track, fine. But if it's got things in it where they speak a different language and have to have a subtitle, yeah, make sure it has an English subtitle, or you're going to be like me, sit there screwed, not knowing what they're saying. But if you want the Steelbook, it varies in prices. Like I got mine for $50. I originally ordered this several months ago through Australia, and when I got it, it wasn't a Steelbook. It was the regular slipcover edition. I didn't want, so I shipped it back, and I had a reorder from someone else, so I didn't get the Australia version. But yeah, anywhere from $50 to $70 in that ballpark, you're gonna find them for a decent deal. But again, just my comments, definitely advice on what to look for. Keep that in mind if you're gonna buy one. But overall, it's hard to recommend this unless you want the Steelbook. So that pretty much does it for my look at the U-571 on 4K. Please comment below, let me know what you think. If it's something that you picked up yourself or you're thinking about it, definitely take my thoughts in consideration and help you make a decision there, good or bad. Check out my other videos on my channel, like, subscribe, and turn your bell notifications on. And we'll see you soon. Geek out.